I just want to find 11,780 votes.
The Fulton County Grand Jury investigation of Donald Trump.
What proves fact A, fact B, and fact C? If we can do that, I'm going to bring an indictment.
I'm Bill Rankin.
I'm Tamar Hallerman. Join us for Season 9 of Breakdown from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution.
Listen now, and please follow us on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Today on CityCast Pittsburgh, if you didn't travel for the holidays, we're going to take you on a little trip to where the region's most celebrated carton of iced tea is made. We're revisiting some of our favorite food and drink episodes this week, so sit back and enjoy this refreshing visit to Turner's Dairy with producer Mallory Falk and Hey Pittsburgh newsletter editor Francesca Dabecco as your guides. It's Thursday, December 29th. I'm Morgan Moody, and this is CityCast Pittsburgh.
So I'm putting on a hairnet before we go into the processing facility. Mallory, you and I are going to look really good in this. I'm very excited.
Here we're looking at the stainless steel tanks that we blend and make all of our iced tea and drinks in. We have basically a giant funnel blender that we put all of the tea ingredients and sugar, things like that into, and then it gets blended into water in a tank from there. And it goes through the hose into a holding tank until it's ready to be filled into cartons or jugs or whatever we're putting it in.
There are cartons of Turner's tea on this conveyor belt. It almost looks like they're on a little roller coaster ride, getting into their final destination of that classic orange crate. Heading to the closest giant eagle.
You guys want anything to drink? Are you a carton or bottle person?
I mean, carton is the classic way to go. That's what I remember from my youth.
Yeah, let's go with the classic carton.
Right, let's do it. There you go.
Ooh, what do we got in here? Oh, there's a lime tea. I've never seen that one.
Lime tea, premium tea, diet, pretty much anything you want. Pretty much what you'd expect. A refrigerator full of Turners.
Yeah. Should you and I commence the interview by cracking open our cartons?
That sounds perfect.
Yep, that's good. It's super refreshing. I feel like I just want to sit on my Pittsburgh porch and admire my flowers like an old lady and drink my sweet iced tea, my sweet iced Turner's tea.
A Pittsburgh institution.
Well, Steve Turner, I'm curious, did you grow up romping around here at the farm, and was this a part of your upbringing?
Yeah, so I was growing up here all the time, working summers, things like that through high school. And fun fact, it's not actually a farm anymore. I know it's a big shock. Makes everybody nervous. No cows. We don't have any cows here anymore. But we sold them in the late 90s. Just operating a farm in the middle of suburban Pittsburgh was difficult, to say the least. So we buy all of our milk from local farms, but we just don't have our own. But yeah, to answer your question, we grew up around here all the time, kind of working summers, painting stuff that nobody else wanted to paint, doing other jobs nobody else wanted to do, that kind of stuff. So.
Well, thank you for dispelling that myth. I was definitely curious if I was going to see cows today. Well, now I know my answer. No cows here. I'm curious, when did you realize Turner's was a household name in Pittsburgh? Obviously, you grew up around it, but when did you realize it had sort of cachet in the community?
I would say to a degree in high school. I mean, you're eating school lunch and all of my friends would be like, well, why do you have to pay for this? That's yours. I'm like, well, the school's got to pay for it. It's I got to pay for it. So that kind of stuff all the time. And through college, I went to school locally here in Pittsburgh. So anytime we brought it up, people instantly knew the name or knew the recognition of it. So
nice. So like you mentioned, Turner's is originally a dairy business, started in 1930, right? How did Turner's get into tea?
We still are very much a dairy processor or dairy business. But 50 years ago, we started getting into iced tea and drinks. Started out as primarily something for people that worked in the steel mills. They could have a cold, refreshing drink rather than whatever, just water or something like that. Just give them a different option. Also allowed us to diversify our business and have more opportunities, more revenue streams, things like that. The first year we made our iced tea, we made 1,200 gallons the whole year. That was it. And now that would be like a really bad afternoon.
That's funny. I mean, how much iced tea does Turner's churn out per day?
So per day, we're probably around like 30,000 gallons of tea a day.
That's a lot. Pittsburgh is gulping it down.
Pittsburgh's like a unique region, obviously in a lot of ways. But in terms of our tea consumption, we drink like twice as much ready-to-drink tea as any other large market in the U.S. So you would think the South drinks more tea, and they do, but they make more tea at home. We tend to buy tea at stores and things like that.
How do you think Turner's became this sort of Pittsburgh institution and stayed relevant?
Yeah, I think to a degree, like it almost, in some ways, happened by accident. Like that sounds kind of weird, right? But we've just kind of found ourselves like ingrained in the culture of Pittsburgh. Some of it through our effort, obviously. If we have to have a good product, or nobody's going to want to buy it, it's got to taste good. But as far as the culture, I think people in Pittsburgh just, I don't know, for whatever reason, just in the early days, like very much gravitated towards it, ingrained in the culture and kind of has stayed that way as the culture has evolved and grown.
Part of the nostalgia, though, growing up and getting Turner's Dairy or Turner's iced tea in school is the paper cartons. So many people remember it from their lunchbox days. So why cartons?
So it started out, that was the transition from originally glass bottles. The next transition was to cartons. And it tends to be one more economical in terms of price. As people have been more concerned, and rightfully so, about environmental impacts, these cartons are actually made from, I think, 70% renewable resources, sustainable forestry, things like that. The other thing is the iced tea especially has just a little hint of a different taste coming out of the carton than the jug. And that's where there's a great debate. If you're a jug person or a carton person, so it's hotly debated.
That's so true. I didn't even think about that until you mentioned it, but I don't know, something about the carton, something about it.
Yes, I was not aware there was a debate. I thought it was kind of universal that there's no comparison to having it straight out of the carton, but we'll have to find some of these jug people. Do you have a stance on this?
Carton all day long.
And speaking of the paper cartons, your label is so iconic. People can go into any corner store, spot it out of the corner of their eye, you know, this bright orange color with the, the white background with a thin orange pinstripes. And you recently actually had a contest, a logo contest to get a new design for your 50th anniversary. What's the backstory there with the logo?
Yeah, so this was the first year we did our carton design contest, in part to celebrate our 50th anniversary, and it's so much fun. We'll probably do it again for many years to come. But it was really just a great way for people to have some ownership over the product that they've loved for so long. And as you mentioned, the design has barely changed in 50 years. And it still largely looks the same. We just added our 50th anniversary logo, and then Jacob Starchek designed the Crushing It Since 72. So he was the winner of the carton design contest. The tagline is Crushing It Since 72. And basically he illustrated a carton being crushed, which frankly, he made my job really easy in order to market that, because it's like perfectly rolls off the tongue. Everybody gets it. instantaneously. He did a phenomenal job on it.
And what's the backstory of the original design? I remember hearing something like a lot of cartons had that look at the time, but Turner's kind of put its own twist on it.
Yeah, so back in the day, whenever we first started making it 50 years ago or so, the company that you would buy the tea from, they also would license the look of like the original tea glass on there. Now you could like add your own logo to it and things like that. So you can still see in some parts of the country, there's some that look very similar, but that's kind of how that started. Is whoever used that original same flavoring or iced tea blend, they also could use that graphic or look. And then we added like the pinstripes to it. Then obviously our logo. Everybody kind of used that, like the iced tea. Obviously, that's what the product is. But we added the premium iced tea, our logo, pinstripes.
Good marketing, tagging that word premium on there.
It is the best.
That's all for today here on CityCast Pittsburgh. If you enjoyed the show, tell a friend, rate the show, leave us a review, and subscribe to our Hey Pittsburgh newsletter. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city, so we'll see you then.
What do you think is the best thing to pair with a Turner's tea?
The best thing to pair with a Turner's tea? It's got to be pizza. Yeah, I don't even know why that took me so long to think of. It's got to be pizza.